Video game addiction is when somebody gets so obsessed with games that it starts to interfere with their relationships or their pursuit of other goals in their life. But at what point did video games become addictive? The third generation of consoles, which were 8-bit units, emerged from 1983 to 1995. They had games such as Donkey Kong, Frogger, and Space Invaders. The fourth generation of consoles, which was 16-bit models, emerged from 1987 to 1999. At this point, gaming was no longer about getting the high score, instead focusing on the development of the main characters. But it really wasn't until the early 2000s era when massive multiplayer online games like RuneScape and Dungeons & Dragons emerged with other games like Halo and Call of Duty 4. With games like these, a moral panic arose in areas such as South Korea. Parents were worried that gamers were becoming too addicted. There was even a few cases where people have lost their jobs or even died because of their addiction.
17-year-old Daniel Petrick claimed that the video game made him do it, and the judge somewhat agreed. He sentenced him to life in prison with a chance for parole in 23 years. Petrick shook his head and held back tears at times during the sentencing this morning. The teen, who was 16 at the time, was convicted of killing his mother, Sue Petrick, and shooting his father, Reverend Mark Petrick, inside their home in Wellington in October 2007. Prosecutors say he was angry that they had taken away a Halo 3 video game. Defense attorneys argued that Daniel was so addicted to the game that he was in withdrawal, and he may not have realized that his parents would not come back.
Well, a Santan Valley couple is accused of abandoning their 2-year-old son while they went out to play Pokemon Go. 25-year-old Brianna Daly and 27-year-old Brett Daly are charged with child endangerment and child neglect. Authorities say the child was alone for up to an hour and a half while the parents played the game in their neighborhood. This was nearby in the park and around in their area there. Parents returned home an hour later and they were taken into custody. The boy is now in the custody of the State Department of Child Services.
There was also a case of a South Korean couple playing a game called Prius Online. They neglected their real baby while taking care of a virtual child. The baby died due to being malnourished. Eventually, the government started the Cinderella Act that forbid gamers under 16 from online gaming, and even started rehabilitation centers. But what is it that makes games more compelling than ever before?
Well, there's a theory of intrinsic motivation. What is it that makes us excited to do something on our own? Called self-determination theory. And basically, it's an ABC of human needs. The A is autonomy, so we like to feel like we're in control. The B is belongingness. We like to feel like we're connected to other people. And the C is competence. We like to feel that we're good at what we do. Well, games are fantastic at all three of these. There's nothing wrong with that initially, but over time it can start to get out of balance.
Think of all the technology advances just in the last decade. Our phones and our tablets, our powerful computers, they're almost always with us. Kids know how to use tablets from a very young age, and video games are now more mobile than ever. So maybe it's no surprise technology and gaming addiction are combining to form a serious problem. Some researchers have shown that here in the United States, as many as 3 million children are addicted to video games. The Manual on Mental Health Disorders in America now includes internet gaming disorder as a condition warranting more clinical research. It's an important first step when it comes to taking gaming addiction seriously.
They are a temporary escape. After a tough breakup at the age of 18, playing games online gave me the perfect way of not having to deal with this situation. I could simply get absorbed in games and play for hours and hours. Second, games are social. Staying home on a Friday night doesn't seem so bad when you're at home playing games with your friends online. Not only that, but games offer a clean slate on the social ladder.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, that's an MMO that I do play off and on, but we're looking at like 2 times a week, 3 times a week. That would be about it. Started a guild with 3 other people that I had met just at the beginning of the game. And it grew from there, kind of snowballed. And it got to the point where we all hated the game, basically. The game was bad, but spending each and every day select amount of time with these people was, to me, just worth the $15 a month and being stuck on a dead server and not being able to really play the game until they merged servers and stuff like that. And these people were really really excellent people, very, very lovely people.
When I was into gaming, I usually played maybe 9 hours a day. It's kind of odd that I'm thinking about that now, but I mean, when you live on your own and you don't have a girlfriend at the time, yeah. I mean, I spent like 8 or 9 hours, maybe 8 or 9 hours a day.
You can do a key command in the game where you type into the chat box /played, hit enter, and it'll show you the amount of time you played on the character you're on, right? So on they call them mains, character that you mainly play. If I go right now and type /played, it'll say 154 days, X amount of hours, X amount of minutes. That's how long I put into just that one character.
It wasn't so hard for me to give up the gaming as it was for me to sell my video games, because my video games were very important part of my young adult life. Like when I was a teenager, that's all I did when I wasn't doing anything else. So it wasn't hard for me to stop. And I guess the reason why I got so heavily involved in gaming was because, well, I did have friends and family. I didn't really have anybody important in my life like I do now with my wife that I just got married to.
Gamers play for very specific reasons. Identify their motivations and help them find these in other activities. Help them with their social skills. The truth is, they struggle to make friends. Lastly, don't punish them for their desire to play these games. Come from a place of compassion and encouragement, not judgment.